Hey, hello everyone. So what we actually do, we build the financial infrastructure for the metaverse.
And I think it's very interesting that from the very beginning of Dmarket, you made it all on blockchain, even before all the NFTs.
Like for us, it was just the way that it should be. It's just not really even about bringing the money into the metaverse, right? But it's also about making the money in the metaverse.
So big vision. What's your view several years later? Where is Dmarket?
We're living in a completely different world, right? So not even the proto-metaverse, right? The real metaverse is already here.
The decentralized thing, it's gonna happen without us anyways. It's already happening.
Welcome to Almazzed podcast. This is Tanya Dadasheva with Almaz Capital, and today I have actually two guests. So I have two founders of Dmarket, our portfolio company, Tamara Slanova and Vlad Panchenko. And thank you, Refurb, for hosting us here in the office in Vienna.
Hey, hello everyone. So what we actually do, we build the financial infrastructure for the metaverse. So in other words, if there is a matrix we are all gonna live in, and I believe that we are already in the matrix, so we just need an administrative password, So let's connect.
You can ask. Okay. We'll give you.
Okay. So my job is to make that happen as quickly as possible. So we started and we did build it for the video games industry. We built a technological layer so that any other game developer creating the world, the narrative, the game, can actually connect to the crypto world and first of all enrich the experience of the game, and secondly combine both communities. And it's a lot of I'm a gamer myself, so it's an honest thing. I want it to be this way. That's why I'm doing it. I want to own items. I want to use one items in different other games. I want to connect brands and games. So that's what we're doing. This is the tech we built. And then we took that tech and did the same, but for the streamers and the OTT providers. It took a little bit longer for us to onboard the first big game, AAA game. And meanwhile, I was thinking how we can use the technology, but with something else, another bridge to the metaverse. And then we did what we did was first with Twitch and Navi esports team, and now we're doing it with a huge OTT provider. While watching just the shows, you will have your avatar, your inventory, and different items. You will be going and surfing from one channel to another, gathering different loot, crafting items, exchanging them on the marketplace. And look, this is another bridge to the metaverse where you own your digital identity with all the items. So when you ask what's the next step, from my perspective, mass adoption in the video games is here. We just need to make it as broad as possible, but it's here. So hire business developers, self-onboarding on the platform, do all the shows, and for me it's okay. It's here. It's no more interesting. It's just now it's an
execution.
It's execution. Yeah. COO will do it. I know how. So that's it. Now we need to connect another bridge with another universe. I remember it was, I think, New York, some fintech conference, and I was showing Kim Kardashian boots in different games, digital items. Everybody was like, this gonna never happen.
Yeah.
It's here. So sometimes thinking ahead of time, it helps because it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and it's not just brands, it's not just games, it's bringing all the usual things from our life into the virtual world, into the metaverse.
Because the whole idea is that we can resist as much as we can. As for example, my mother was hiding the keyboard when she was going to work so that I study and not play. But come on, I just bought the second keyboard and I was hiding it as well. So when I was like, oh, okay, no more games. She's out, I'm playing. So same here, we can resist as much as we can. But this digital thing is happening, and it's good. Because in virtual reality, there is 100% inclusion, adoption, be whatever you want, do whatever you want. It's now, in that virtual world, it will be always about what's here, nothing else. And it's beautiful. When it's all it's all global virtual world of everybody from anywhere in the world can be just creative, whatever you want, however you want. I love it. That's why we're trying to connect it in as many ways as possible.
Yeah, and actually it's really interesting because I was last week at the International Programming Championship, ICPC, and there was a panel on NFTs, and somehow it turned into a discussion that the same instrument that can be used by artists to be more creative and to create something new can be used to bring the same art into the virtual world. And so you can have all the same items that you used to. Is it a painting on a wall or something? And that's also still unique. And you know that it's unique, and you can bring it probably from, at some point in the future, you'll be able to bring it from one virtual place to another and to have this uniqueness. And I think it's very interesting that from the very beginning of Dmarket, you made it all on blockchain, even before all the NFTs. So basically you brought this understanding of uniqueness and ownership from the very beginning.
Yes.
So how did it evolve?
We've seen that there is demand from like a whole bunch of different stakeholders, not just the gamers themselves, but for the content creators, influencers, brands, etc. So and here, like we've seen this bigger picture, and we have this vision that we have to pursue and to build. And then here it was, the blockchain technology, which is basically perfectly suited just for doing that, because we all know that like blockchain, NFTs, open standards, decentralized systems, these are all basically enablers and like precursors for the metaverse. So something like that helps us build that. So we initially started building our product back then on the blockchain before all this hype with NFTs. Like for us, it was just the way that it should be, just the way it should work. Something that will secure the authenticity, the proper distribution, storage, chain of ownership, and etc. All the benefits that you get with the technology itself.
I still have the deck from 2015 when I was looking at different topics in blockchain, and I had this theses I wrote for my colleagues. So if they see something like this, they bring it to me, and one of them was exactly what, and that's how we actually found you back then, because the thesis was that it should be a decentralized exchange where the item is the token. Yeah. So I know it changed a lot from that back then, but I think this is the actual way we first ran across the Skins Cash / Dmarket.
The core values and ideas haven't changed actually.
And still, I 100% believe that the future would be in decentralized everything, because we will serve as like again as a bridge from centralized things like fiat money, real businesses, blah 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 blah, to the decentralized world where the liquidity, the demand, the proposition is like million times quicker, higher, and this is how it's going to work, and it's already working like that. So you probably have seen what's done on fintech exchanges, decentralized exchanges, where people turn over like dozens of billions of dollars every day, just on various specific financial mechanisms, like from simple derivatives, so then to derivatives to derivatives on derivatives. So it's like 10,000x on speed on like New York Stock Exchange without no regulations, and this is just a wild, wild west. But I mean, there is bad things and good things as usual. So no regulations means lots of scam, but no regulations means that lots of regular people with small checks can get in and make some money. And again, as the video games right now on Dex, like the top games right now, what it mostly it's like the idea is all the same how it was, for example, with World of Warcraft, where the less developed countries where the hour of work is less expensive are helping the more developed countries where like the guy from San Francisco is coming home and he doesn't have 18 hours to grow the character. He just want to go fight for half an hour and go for sleep. That's it. Not listen everything about his mother from like 12 years old person, which I usually have to listen when I'm playing Counter-Strike. Whatever. But so this is another interesting thing which I would be curious to check out after 5 years, that there would be a huge problem with the taxation. Decentralized exchange, even with Dmarket, the smart contracts we're delivering right now in October and November, we are just the face of the decentralized world. We build the products so that every regular person can come, buy, trade, and exchange, but we can regulate it. So we can disable the face of it, but it's still gonna live. It's just a front page with a very sophisticated mechanism, etc. But the smart contracts, it's decentralized. You can't change it. You can't do that. That's it.
But the legal system is very much designed for smart contracts. So you can actually, and the tax systems and everything. So you can, if you want to, include it initially in this infrastructure layer, in the smart contracts layer.
You can, but
You don't want
won't.
to. Yeah, you won't.
Well, it's not how it works. This is not the beauty of the system. No, we pay all the taxes. Come on. So, very legal KYC, American company, AML, and this kind of stuff.
We checked. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we did DD, we're doing DD, and we're going to do more DD, so there is no other choice for us. But from the perspective of the community, there is that article about the Philippine group playing Axie Infinity, making lots of money, and there is a government regulation about that one game that the players have to pay actual taxes, and everybody's like, what? But this is a big question, and it's gonna rise in the next 3 to 5 years, because some things you can't control. You can issue a law, but if there is no way you can make it, then you can make as many laws as you want. So there has to be some other framework for how to regulate all that kind of market.
But I think it's actually an opportunity, because a lot of tax systems are not particularly suited for this or for many other things, and it doesn't have to be replicated exactly. It just can be created from scratch. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm happy to say. Well, I'm proud of it a little bit. That it's like there's on those memes when the little squirrel is putting like one nut to another one. And this is my little thing that back in Ukraine we helped to produce a law which passed the parliament about the taxation of the crypto, and then like you pay 5% and you're a free man. That's cool, I think. And after proper implementation, there is no other way for any other country. You just can't ban it because it's there. You just can't.
I wonder if there would be any like luxury law or something tax, because if you bring your very expensive painting into the virtual world, it's like the same in the real world, or property tax or something. So it's interesting. Like since you said you like science fiction, like in Snow Crash, remember when they had these buildings, and the more expensive and more precise and more detailized the building is, it costs more.
Of course. And you've seen, it's also, there was a book, and then there was the TV show Upload. When you just die, you've been transferred to the virtual reality, and then the more money you have, the bigger the bandwidth. And I don't know, are you happy about it or not, but this is going to happen, I believe, not with the desk, but with the virtual reality. This is going to happen while we will still be in current bodies, let's say.
It's just not really even about bringing the money into the metaverse, right? But it's also about making the money in the metaverse, because it basically opens you a whole bunch of new possibilities how you can do that. Like something that you couldn't have even imagined in the classical world. And this is what I think is very attractive. Like that's why I'm a big proponent, just because it gives you so many different things that you cannot do in real life. And it basically brings this, a lot of creativity into it.
It's collaboration between different geographies, wherever people are, but I think it's also collaboration in terms of how it just makes easier to create the same work together on the same thing.
People. So what I like there is that you never know how smart, how interesting, how creative people are all over the world. But before all that globalization, the only way for them was for us to meet somewhere physically and start thinking. Collaboration, virtual world, making real money, and 20 years later, look what we all do.
Exactly. Yeah. Again ahead of time.
And again, 90% of the people even now will look at me and say,
yeah, but this is how a lot of things started. Even like blockchain started with Bitcoin, which was mostly for grey market, but now it turned into something completely different.
Vitalik Buterin founded Ethereum. Why? And he's saying that because in World of Warcraft they took away his character.
Yeah.
That's the beauty. It's all about owning virtual items, owning your virtual avatar, owning your virtual future. So, as you just said, with Bitcoin and Silk Road, it always starts with some bad things because this is the early adopters. But then it evolves, and now we have Elon Musk buying Bitcoin. That's it.
Yeah. So and that's actually a very interesting thing as well, how the large companies can work with it, because I think individual people understand it pretty well, like avoiding stuff or creating stuff. But how do you think it can be integrated in the large corporations?
You're my compliance officer, so you begin with
the adoption of the technology itself.
How the large corporations can play a part in it. So, they want to, and I think the gaming world does, maybe a few others do, but I think the rest are like Elon Musk. They buy Bitcoin, but it's basically ends at that.
Yes, yes.
Oh, he sold some of it.
Okay, he can buy and sell, but not incorporated
Yeah,
in it.
normally large corporations are quite cautious in adopting new things like that. So basically, they do it step by step. And I think that like purchasing bitcoins is the very first essential step.
And then
for adopting the technology itself.
Sells NFTs.
What basically we need to do is more people talking about the technology itself and talking in the words that corporations can understand what the benefits are.
So when we were selling our tech to the OTT provider, I was saying about smart contracts, Ethereum network, type of the NFT. He said, "Come on, like, stop the bullshit, bingo. Just show me how it works, and bring us that API with documentation. You just do your part of the work. I understand what we need to get at the end. I don't want the details, please." This is what helps us to build what we do. Because I was developing game developers for a very long time, and I understood that they're usually 99% of them are extremely talented people. Extremely, they're artists. This is amazing what they do, but they don't know a lot about crypto, and they more or less don't want to know about crypto a lot. However, when you explain them how they can enrich the experience, they're ready to do that. Just please, we don't want to touch all the things. So provide us with the legal documents, provide us with a simple tech where we integrate, and then you do your job, we do our job. So this is where I see my job. So because I understand crypto, I believe in it, but we're not building our own blockchain decentralized network. But that layer, exactly what you're asking. So the infrastructure for one type of business, for another type of business, connecting them all together, and then I'm happy when I see everything is traded, cross-game, cross-platform, and then I'm doing the right things.
Yeah, so your goal is to create this basically ecosystem where they can adopt it, and it can be very different use cases. So it's about finding these use cases, and you can help them.
Sometimes I provide them the tech, and I provide them options how they can use it, and they come back and they bring something new, what they want to do, and I'm happy. They enrich my business development for the next client, and I see that they can take the tech we build and do something even better. I'm happy.
Mm-hmm. So basically, you're selling the benefits of the technology, not even the technology itself.
Yeah, but this is usually how the verticals form. People don't even know the bottom layers of it. Yeah, but
recently we had a very interesting conversation with a huge marketing agency. I sold them the technology to enable drops, crafting, and NFTs on Twitch. And we had a conversation. I explained everything I showed, we sold, and our biz dev person sent the materials. They said, all right. And they said, we have a meeting on Tuesday with all our clients. And like on Tuesday evening, he's sending me an email and says, okay, so we sold your tech like 4 times already, but we need a call because I have to understand what we just sold.
But he can probably be a good evangelist, so he can repeat stuff and people believe him.
That was the hardest part of my job in the last couple of years. Because even that AAA game we now have, it took me a couple of years to politely explain, because I adore what I do. And but this is a very difficult part to understand and to implement in a very good way for their community, for the crypto community. Same thing with other stuff. But having case by case by case, then afterwards there would be less questions because they will see in their own eyes how it's going to work and then just use it.
Yeah, it sounds like you're not just building tech APIs, you're building APIs on all the levels between all these communities and all these verticals and different companies.
That's what ideally.
Yeah, ideally I'm trying to build one API just to sell it in a different ways. So the last mile, kind of a little bit different for the game developer or OTT provider, but 90% of the whole tech, the smart contract, the marketplace, the financials, the everything, it's all the same, lo mismo. It's just the last mile, it could be a little bit different, but not that much. So we can resell it to some other businesses, and that's what.
Yeah, but basically all these worlds that you've mentioned, they're all really interconnected, and basically all the digital assets, they're all traded. Like for what we have on the market at the moment. So basically we have like millions of transactions with digital assets from different IPs, and that's how it works.
Yeah, but the funny story is that we're dropping NFTs with OTT provider, which you can actually craft or exchange or craft into better NFTs, which you can claim into physical items or send it into the game and use it as a digital item. And it's all
another bridge.
Yeah, yes. But it's all one metaverse. So it's all the same for me. It's sometimes difficult to explain, but now I understand what to sell, what not to sell. It just works and everybody's happy.
Yeah, absolutely. So big vision. What's your view several years later? Where is Dmarket?
I was just curious. I was just so curious to sit here.
Yeah, exactly. That's yes. That's basically what we started with building the bridges, because in our heads, all the scaling with what we already have, that's already done. that's already.
So we are already 5 years later.
Yes. So basically, in our head, we are already 5 years ahead. So now your question is about a 10-year perspective. Not the 5-1.
That
yes.
I can talk about.
So basically, then we're living in a completely different world, right? So not even the proto metaverse, right? The real metaverse is already here.
What is now exploding quickly? It's gonna explode 10 times more quicker than the virtual items, the digital things would cost and be more valuable for us than any other physical things. Was a simple examples was with the bags of Gucci being more expensive in Fortnite. This is just demand and proposition, but still the whole idea that something you own in virtual world could be more valuable for you than the physical one, just because you spend more time there, and you will spend more time there. Everyone is spending more, playing more, thanks to COVID, and thanks to many other game devices, developers, and everything else. So in the short term, it's just gonna accelerate, and we're building bridges to make it happen. But there are some things which, for example, recently I was saying it that first time to someone from Google, I think, and they said, well, that's not gonna happen. This is a very difficult thing to do, but it's gonna happen 100%, for example. So what I'm saying is that the brands collaborating now with the games like Roblox or Fortnite, this is not metaverse. This is, from my perspective, the first step to it, because this is centralized.
Yeah.
The biggest, the 10,000x will be when there will be a platform or platforms where the young designer will be able to develop the digital item, put it on sale, and if it sells, it's automatically usable in different other games. It's a technological challenge, yes. Is that doable? 100%. It will be like that. The point is who will do that first, how to do that. I mean, I have the understanding. Again, I have to evangelize, to push it and etc., but it's going to happen. And for millions of people designing beautiful things, it would be the whole new market where to put their minds. And for us, being there in digital worlds, in the games, in social networks, because again, Instagram or TikTok is a game. It's not just a social network. If you spend so much time there, it's entertaining you, you're spending money, you're interacting with other people, come on. It's also a game. It's also part of the metaverse thing. So that kind of an open platform interconnected, that would be the next very big thing, but it's gonna take time and technology to happen. But with brands coming centralized, it's gonna happen. Just I want to make it quicker, and this is what I'm thinking, not yet doing, but thinking, talking to other people, but this is one of the things I oversee.
And back to the question where we see the market in this time. Then basically, I think that we see it as the main central thing that keeps this whole economy with the digital assets and property spinning. So
I'd say
and decentralizing as well.
Look,
more and more.
Of course. The decentralized thing, it's gonna happen without us. Anyways, it's already happening. So if to take an example in Ethereum network and what's happening there with the smart contracts, decentralized exchanges from SushiSwap to everything else, it's already happening. So, but the amount of effort for the regular person, for my mother, to come and buy CryptoPunk NFT is enormous. That's number one. And an amount of effort for Hulu to start dropping IP-connected NFTs to people who want to own and collect is enormous. So my job in Dmarket and Tamara's job in Dmarket is to, first of all, build the front for that all decentralized thing, so it's easy for everyone to come in and come out, B2C and B2B, that technological layer and a product on top of it. And of course, on the way, we're building, for example, in November, there is a very sophisticated, from my standpoint, smart contracts on Ethereum we developed and we tested with the community, and they actually asked us to do it open source. because some parts of it will be gonna reuse by lots of other people. But on the other page, we will reuse other people's work as well. So all the decentralized community, it's gonna happen with us or without. But my job is to make it accessible for as many regular person and as many businesses to access it and to make it all together.
But I think that, by the way, since you mentioned open source principles are very much about the same. It's about decentralization, it's about just having different type of relationships, different type of economies, and it's about democratization. So the barrier of entrance is way lower. And I think, yeah, you're right. You mentioned like that the brands are coming now centralized, but that's what usually happens with marketplaces. Even when Uber started, it was black cars first. It was large services that were able to create this liquidity. So it's basically they are creating liquidity, they're educating the market, and then it will start to be way more decentralized. And it's actually really cool how the market can help and be this layer that enables it.
This is what we do.
Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing your vision. We're very happy to be your investors and to continue this journey together.
Thank you so much.
Very happy to
always
have
a
you on
pleasure.
board.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.